Naga Munchetty, the host of BBC Breakfast, is now officially being probed for bullying after a string of allegations. Now, this is connected to the defenestration of the BBC's head of news, Deborah Turness, this week. It feels like Turness had been there protecting this woman. I've said for some time, I think there's a lot of snowflakes working at the British Bashing Corporation, but there is a huge disparity and hypocrisy in terms of how Naga Munchetty has been treated as a woman of colour compared to how Kay Adams has been treated as a white woman, taken off air, or how Greg Wallace and John Turode have been treated as white men, had their careers destroyed by the BBC. Because the accusations against Naga Munchetty are far worse than those against those others. I'm not saying she's guilty, but I'm just saying, why is there one rule when it comes to others who are immediately taken off air, have their reputation destroyed, and another rule for Ms. Naga Munchetty? So let me take you through this new reporting, which is actually broken overnight in The Sun, which reveals her future is now hanging by a thread as a formal probe has been launched into her bullying behaviour. And let me just go into the details here. The Breakfast presenter's conduct had been under review, but bosses escalated it to a full investigation this week. Remember, that's the same time that Tim Davie and Deborah Turness announced their departures from the BBC over the Donald Trump scandal. The Sun goes on. We first revealed in June that the BBC One morning show was facing a bullying inquiry amid claims of a toxic workplace. However, a string of further allegations against Munchetty, who also works for Radio 5 Live, had come to light, and insider told The Sun. There is speculation that she may be particularly vulnerable after the departure of the head of news, Deborah Turness, who quit on Sunday over the edit of a Donald Trump speech. Munchetty is among BBC talent who was said to have been protected by Turness. We can also reveal that the telly presenter has parted ways with her long-standing showbiz agent. Her detractors are gossiping that the timing with Deborah's departure isn't exactly a coincidence. A source said the Naga situation has been an albatross around Breakfast's neck since June, when the endemic bullying at Media City was first exposed by The Sun. Whilst others have been cleared, the review on Naga has done the opposite, with further complaints against her. They had no choice but to take things from the slightly softer under review to formal investigation. Of course, her detractors are gossiping that the timing with Deborah's departure isn't exactly a coincidence. Breakfast boss Richard Frediani initially faced bully claims before Munchetty and her co-host Charlie State were also accused. Complaints against Frediani were eventually not upheld, which some saw as the cue for Munchetty's exit. Accusations against her range from laying into an intern for incorrectly spreading Marmite on her toast through to making an unwelcome sexual remark to a female colleague. Meanwhile, State remains under review. Some complaints were raised under the BBC's Call It Out scheme set up in the aftermath of the scandal over former MasterChef presenters Greg Wallace and John Turode. Munchetty also no longer has heavyweight showbiz agency M&C Saatchi in her corner. The firm confirmed to The Sun it no longer represented her. And of course, viewers have been aware of some behaviour which has been described as bullying for a long time, based on Naga Munchetty's quite bizarre on-air antics. Watch this. A very quick but personal message from me to you to let you know that the best way you can support Dan Wootton Outspoken is to subscribe to my Substack at www.outspoken.live. Substack is a free speech platform that protects me from big tech cancellation and lawfare. Paid annual or monthly subscribers get an extra hour of content with the Royal Uncancelled After Show available every weekday with no advertising whatsoever. You can also message me direct on there. That's www.outspoken.live.
Because you've come in making sure you've done your research on us as well.
Well, I think it's polite.
Also pointing your
polite.
finger quite a lot, to be honest.
What do you...
That really, I'm so sorry, Charlie.
Do you not like being interviewed?
Do you know, I like communication. I don't mind.
You wish you were here now.
I don't like ice cream, Hannah.
You don't like ice cream,
No.
but you just said pistachio.
If I had to eat an ice cream for the rest of my life, it would be pistachio flavour, but I don't like cold food.
Do you like brownies?
Not so much. But, you know, we'll get to know each other, Hannah. And you'll find out a lot. You'll find out Charlie likes ice cream. You'll get more
You definitely will. I won't be bringing brownies into the office then.
No, everyone else does. Don't let me deny the rest of the office. Hannah, it's been great talking to you. I'm glad you're enjoying the ice cream. Certainly needed in this weather. Take care.
I'm having a great time, yeah.
Thanks. Hannah being sent. Imagine that. Oh, business correspondent. What's your job? I've got to be sent to an ice cream factory, and you actually like an ice cream parlour.
Do you think you rather brought the tone down there?
Oh, be quiet. Come on.
Well, but Hannah
I
was,
apologise.
She was working hard, doing the story, and then... time now for a look at the headlines where you are this morning.
You would hear the voice later, and can you look interested? I'll look this way. Which camera? So the interesting thing here is that one thing is, which is it, camera 3? What am I? What, 4? No, I wanted a single because I think we just need to remove. There we are. The interesting thing you'll be asking at home is, what is the effect of that on a conversation you might have on Mars? So the effect of that is, one, you wouldn't hear the voice. You wouldn't hear the voice as quickly. It would take a while to travel, and also it would be quite a bit quieter. So now you know. If you're having a conversation on Mars shortly, we know the official details on that.
I'm sweating.
It's nice when people pay attention, isn't it, what you're saying? It really is. Have you got a story?
Connor Tomlinson, host of Tomlinson Talks on YouTube, with me now. Connor, this is a really interesting one, okay, because I want to express a nuanced position. I am not saying that Naga Munchetty is a terrible bully and a sexual harasser who should lose her job. I am not saying that. I have not seen evidence of that. But what I am saying is that there are multiple claims against her, and she seems to have survived in her job, where Kay Adams was immediately pulled from air, where Greg Wallace and John Turode were sacked. And let me just be blunt about it, because she is a woman of colour. That is the only differentiating factor here. And I think there needs to be one rule. Do you know what I mean? If you face these allegations at the BBC, either you're pulled off air while an investigation takes place. That's exactly what has happened to Kay Adams, or you're not. Why are there different rules for Naga Munchetty? But first, as we get older, you notice it. After a cold, a hard workout, even a long week, recovery just isn't as quick as it used to be, right? That bounce back factor matters. And it turns out the secret isn't luck, it's stem cells, your body's built-in repair crew. With age, that system slows down. Fewer cells, weaker signals, slower recovery. That's exactly why Qualia created Qualia Stem Cell. Think of it this way. Your cells are powerful. Qualia Stem Cell helps keep them that way. It's crafted with nature's heavy lifters, sea buckthorn, royal jelly, and more to support your body's natural repair system so you can keep moving, healing, and thriving. You don't have to accept slowing down. This is about supporting better aging by reactivating the systems that help you bounce back. And it's refreshingly simple. You take it just 4 days a month. So if you've ever felt like your body just doesn't bounce back like it used to, whether it's after a tough workout, getting sick, or just the wear and tear of life, this is for you. Qualia Stem Cell was designed to support your body's natural repair systems, helping you heal, recover, and keep going strong. And right now, you can try it for up to 50% off at qualialife.com/Dan. And here's a bonus. Use the code Dan for an additional 15% off your order. So that's QUALIA life.com/Dan. Your body's built to repair itself. Qualia just helps it do it that better. And a big thanks, by the way, to Qualia for sponsoring this episode of Outspoken. But now, back to the show.
Well, thanks for forcing me to sit through those clips, Dan. I don't pay the license fee for a reason. I have toenails to pull out rather than watch BBC Breakfast. Blimey, they were awkward, weren't they? But yeah, no, I agree. I think BBC's institutional culture of enforcing, 50% of the news coverage to be hosted by women, to beyond their share of the population, artificially inflate the careers of non-Indigenous, non-white presenters and broadcasters and even actors. I mean, see the disaster that unfolded with Ncuti Gatwa and Doctor Who. I think this creates an institutional culture where accountability can be evaded by people if they have the intersectionally approved characteristics. If they are a woman, if they are not a white woman, and if they are not a straight woman, if the allegations of sexual harassment are to be upheld. And so what's happened here is that even though the very allegation was enough to lead to the cancellation of someone like Greg Wallace, who is an English barrow boy, who may have acted imprudently on set, but it wasn't worth multiple weeks of national news coverage for it. Whereas he got that treatment, the allegation itself has not been enough to defenestrate this news anchor. And it also is ironic to me, though, that this is happening because when the institutions, public institutions like media and corporations and government do this sort of thing, it's because they have been captured by what Helen Andrews in Compact Magazine said is the great feminization, the sort of HRification of every institution, the treatment of every institution and its culture like a teenage girl's lunch table, where if you do something that's a bit icky or one member of the group finds that they could accrue social capital by ostracizing you and disapproving you and turning the entire group against you, then they can and they will. And it's hilarious that someone here, the beneficiary of diversity, equity and inclusion laws, the beneficiary of the culture of promoting female talent, of wanting a kinder, softer, gentler approach to reading the news, more feminine, less masculine, has now found herself on the outs as part of this great feminine institutional culture that does bullying with a smile.
Very well put, Connor Tomlinson. And of course, for so much more of Connor, then I really recommend you subscribe to his brilliant YouTube channel, Tomlinson Talks. He is also obviously on Substack and X as well. Connor, thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend. But before we go today, we are going to reveal today's worst Britain in the world this week. And it is when we put our Union Jackasses from Monday to Thursday head to head. A reminder of your winners from earlier in the week. Adil Ray on Monday. Do you remember he pushed Sharia law? And even though he was hauled in by ITV bosses, it's like, clearly okay with Sharia law, which means, the stoning of death to adulterer females and gay men like me being pushed off the top of buildings. Tuesday, Tim Davie, the outgoing BBC Director General, really because of his total incoherence in regards to just how serious what is going on with the BBC really is. Wednesday, our favourite, the tit whisperer, Zach Polanski, the Islamist leader of the Green Party. And Thursday, Tony Blair, the ex-Prime Minister who continues to push for the introduction of compulsory digital ID. Now, let me get to your feedback first, though, before I announce the results. So many votes so far. We've had over 50,000 already. Maiden writes, I voted Tim Davie. He has made a fortune working with the BBC and is now going to get a whopping payout. I'm just glad I don't pay in to his fat paycheck. Ranged Lime says, all these people would not be as prominent as they were if it wasn't for the way Tony Blair undermined and obliterated our country. He is the worst Brit every day of the week. Visur Kava says, Blair is the architect of all who came after him, all those progressive liberal autocrats who are neither left or right, but an offshoot of the extremes of both, wearing a smile and smug contempt for all they see below him. Christine 302 said, Tony Blair started the rot in the Labour Party. He taught them how to lie, how to spin the facts, and how to get away with corruption, resign, and come back again. Burnley Tindley said, all four are terrible, but I'm going for Adil Ray for trying to grill a 100-year-old war veteran who in my eyes is more of a man than you will ever be, Mr. Ray. Timo UK said Adil Ray for promoting and advocating for Sharia law in the West and race-baiting a World War II veteran on live TV. And yeah, that was another reason people were so disgusted by Adil Ray this week. The way he dealt with that war veteran on GMB was just horrendous. Okay, to your results. There's a tie for third place. between Tim Davie and Zach Polanski with 12% of the vote. The runner-up with 33% of the vote, former Prime Minister, but is he still pulling the strings, Tony Blair. But the worst Briton in the world this week for advocating Sharia law with 44% of your vote, woke ITV's Good Morning Britain presenter, Adil Ray.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.